following video shows upgrading a standard 8:1 kicker to an increased purchase of 12:1, which allows easier control whilst maintaining full travel. If you don't know how to splice, there are lots of online resources to help teach you the steps required in this video. Please see the video's description for some suitable links. Let's get started. You will need a new block. This example uses a Harken 29mm soft attach block, but you could use a 40mm block if you have a spare from changing the boom end block. Other tools required are fids in suitable sizes, a suitable length of dyneema for the mast drop. About 48cm is right for a 29mm block. I use 5mm to help spread the kicker loads on the mast. Also a tape measure, scissors or knife, and possibly a small screwdriver. Start by removing the kicker from the boom strap by undoing the shackle. Then pull out the splice and the kicker rope passing around the mast. You can now start to make the new lower mast strap. Thread the dyneema through the mouth of the block and out through the head, then equalise the tail lengths. If we were to now attach this to the mast, it would pull the block apart due to the larger diameter of the mast forcing the head of the block open. To prevent this, we must cross over the tails. This can be done neatly by splicing one tail through the other so they exit in opposite sides. Pull one tail out about 1cm through the block, then use the fid to pass the shorter tail through the other. Rework the crossover back inside the head of the block. This can be a bit fiddly. You should now have the left hand side tail exiting on the right and vice versa. Again, ensure the tail lengths are equal. Now we can splice the strap onto the mast. Pass the dyneema through the original kicker retainer attached to the mast collar. Estimate the centre position and length for the splice, leaving the block about 40mm from the mast. The finished splice will end up shorter. We can now splice the strap to form a fixed loop. Using a fid, pass one tail through the other about 5mm above your centre mark. Repeat, passing the other tail back through the first, about 5mm above the centre mark. Pull the two tails tight and check the splice is the correct length and is still central, adjusting splice positions if necessary. We can now lock the splice. Using the fid, pass through the rope in the opposite direction, then pass the tail through completely. Repeat on the other side. Pull the tails and the strap tight to set the splice, which should now be locked. We can now bury the tail ends. Taper the tails first using scissors or a knife. Then pass the fid up through the centre of the rope to bury the tails inside the strap. This is fiddly as you need to pass the straight fid around the mast. If your strap is too small, you won't have enough space to work the fid up through the rope. Once completed, milk the rope back over the tail to smooth the splice. Repeat on the other side to bury the final tail to finish the strop. You should now have a nice smooth fixed loop. Next, we can now rebuild the kicker. Ensure you have enough slack in the control rope to make life easier and that nothing is twisted. Reattach the top block to the shackle to allow measuring the required length. Thread the existing rope with the double block upwards through the block on the shackle, then downwards through the block on the mast strop, then back to the shackled block. My target length for the kicker is presently 49 cm. This is measured from the base of the mast to the shackle pin. Your distance may vary, so check first. Once happy with the length, either mark the rope or don't let go, and then remove the top block from the shackle to make life easier. We can now splice a loop onto this block. Start by passing the rope through the mouth of the block. Then take a fid and pass it through the rope and pull the tail through. Don't make the loop too small as we don't want to interfere with the block and add friction. To lock the splice, move down the rope a few strands and pass the rope back through again using the fid. The splice should now be locked and we can recheck our length. To finish the splice, we need to bury the tail inside the rope. Pass the fid through the centre of the rope and pull the tail through. Pull the splice tight, then milk the cover down to smooth the rope and set the splice. Finally, reattach the top block to the shackle and admire your new 12:1 kicker. You should have enough travel in the kicker from just slack when the sail is hoisted to boom on traveller. And here is the kicker once rigged.